So I'm going to convert you into a bunch of savers. I wholeheartedly believe that saving money is a more valuable skill than making money. I also think it'll be useful for more people, and here's why. So we know the average salary in the United Kingdom is about £35,000 a year, and you'll no doubt have seen all manner of ways to kind of increase your income, but the reality remains that the average salary is low. You may see people living the high life, but generally speaking, you know, these people that you may be exposed to are probably in the top 0.1% of earners. And so I really do think this is anchored in reality and hopefully is going to help more people than those sorts of concepts. The other thing is that you can always spend more money. So even if in theory you go out and you succeed and you earn more, what's to stop you from having lifestyle creep? There's always a faster car, a newer car, a bigger house, a fancier holiday. And if you don't nurture the skill of saving, then all of that hard work goes to waste anyway. So my philosophy is try to do both, but really if you want to conquer one first, conquer the art of saving. Now, there's a stat that I looked up, which I'm going to link actually in the video below, but 4 in 5 people apparently in the UK avoid discussing their finances with someone else. Now that's just heartbreaking, isn't it? You know, it's really upsetting to think that personal finance is a taboo, is something people feel awkward or ashamed about. And one way or another, that is the reality for a lot of people. If you're already watching these videos, then you're an early adopter, and I'm so grateful. I would love it if you could type something in the comments below about what you would actually like to see me create content about, because I'd be more than happy to make you a video to help you to talk about a topic of your interest within the remit of personal finance or maybe starting a business, that kind of thing. Anyway, I digress. So we've got as well 61% of people in the UK being defined as regular savers. So that is people who are paying in, putting some money aside on a monthly basis regularly. That leaves 2 in 5 who aren't doing it. So obviously there's a lot of work to be done here. We want people to be comfortable, and I'd bet that they would feel more comfortable if they were able to save consistently and if they could take control of their finances. And so here we are, I'm jumping in. Reason number 1 is because saving is going to increase your net wealth. If we take an example, somebody earns £35,000 a year. However, they don't need that £35,000 to live off. No, instead, they spend £30,000 a year and they put £5,000 away. So that's person A. Then you've got person B. He's up here on the earnings. He's earning £60,000 a year, but he's also spending £60,000 a year. Now, the difference here is that person A has successfully saved their money, and as a result, their net wealth, or their total value of all of their possessions and their assets, is going to be going up over time. By comparison, person B, although they have the higher earnings, and they may appear to be living a more extravagant lifestyle, you take an audit of them at any point in time and they could go 10 years and they wouldn't have anything to show for it, because everything that's come into their account has also been spent out. So that's something to think about. Obviously there are nuances, but I do quite like thinking about it in that way, and it does somehow depend on whether or not you are paying a mortgage versus renting, but we'll assume that those people are renting, and therefore we can clearly see the benefits of saving in that scenario. Now, point number 2 is that generally savers will be in more control of their finances, and they can decide to put that saved money to good work. And I'm going to have a whole nother video on how we managed to save our first £50,000 and break down the different places where all of that money was essentially being held and why. So definitely kind of stay tuned if you are interested in hearing about that in more detail. But yeah, another stat for you is that 13% of the total workers in the UK are self-employed. So that leaves the vast majority, on the other hand, who are employed by another organisation. They're not self-employed, therefore they don't have full autonomy over what they're doing and kind of how much money they can make. And for these people, I'm sure you'll agree with me that it's a lot more comforting and reassuring when you don't have to rely on that full income every single month just to get by. It's very stressful, and also it leaves you feeling quite trapped and certainly not financially free. So if you can focus your efforts towards saving and you can build up that buffer, the larger that gets, and over time it will compound and you will feel liberated, you will feel much freer than you might do today, or than you would do if you weren't a saver. I feel like it's going to become a bit of a tradition to have a correction in each of these videos, but I was just watching back my first take and I realised that actually what I said about employed versus self-employed and just generally not spending all of your earnings making you feel empowered, I think that actually applies across the board. Everybody is going to feel a sense of freedom, of liberation and of space and of peace if they don't have to spend everything they make. And I just wanted to make that quick clarification because I realised that it was a bit of an odd thing what I was trying to say there. So yeah, that's the reflection that I had. But anyway, back to the main video. Thanks guys. And finally, it just feels good. Let's be honest. If you save money, you feel like you've done yourself a service, especially when you start investing and that money compounds. The Bank of England base rate today is 4.75%. You can get savings accounts that are easy access, so even worthwhile if you're building up a rainy day fund, an emergency fund, and you want to start saving today, you can get 4.95% on that money, which means that you're not losing out to inflation, you are keeping pace with inflation. And what you don't want to do, of course, is be on the opposite end of the spectrum and be paying interest to other parties. But yeah, I mean, that's my take anyway. The top reasons why saving money is much more important than making money. And thanks very much for sticking with me and watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.